My favorite part about WiWinu season is being able just to come out into the country and breathe the fresh air, see the wonderful sceneries, pretty sceneries, being able to go to the water and splash around, drink some fresh mountain water, and just come and be here with my family, as today I'm with my 2 children, my youngest son and my middle daughter, and my grandson, Michael. And we're just here getting ready to pick for the feast. There isn't too much, so we're going to pick whatever we can, and then we'll take this back, and then the feast is tomorrow, and we'll have a blessed day, blessing our first foods for our Native American people.
The great part about this is a workout. It could be really healthy for us to climb, bend. You know, you got pedometers on your phones nowadays. You got your Fitbits and your watches that count your steps for you. It could be healthy for you, but not only healthy for you physically, but also mentally. When we eat our Indian foods, that's bringing your spirit back to you and, you know, growing healthier. And you know, our spirits crave for that, our Indian foods, and so we need to feed them with the berries and the roots and the deer meat.
When we were very young, very young, we'd have to come out, and there'd be like pickup loads and car loads, station wagon loads of us kids coming out with our grandparents and our mothers usually, but both my grandparents, Alec and Blanche Tohet, would come out, and they would each give us a little tin can to pick our berries in. As soon as we filled up those cans, and we can go play, take a break for a little while. And it was usually, we always make sure we brought a rope, and we'd rope the top of the trees, and we'd pull it down, and we'd be bouncing around on the trees, acting like we're riding wild horses.
The huckleberries are good, and there's a lot of places where you could have them, and they're really good to share with people, and they're very healthy.
Being outdoors as a young person growing up, it was so much fun. It was refreshing. It was like you were free. You were this free kid running around, no worries, no scaries, just a lot of fun, just taking time just to breathe the fresh air, drink the cool water, look at the beautiful scenery, and just think about what's going to happen in the future for us, because we never thought it would change ever. We just thought it'd be just free for the rest of our lives.
When we were young and our grandmother would take us out here into the woods, and that's the earliest memories that I have. And while we would be digging and picking and drying, she would be talking to myself, my brothers, sisters, and cousins, and her sisters and all of her friends would also share a lot of different knowledge with us young folks in those days. And now here we are today, keeping our culture alive by being able to come out to our original homelands and picking grounds to be a part of the cycle, Anagnisha. That all of these foods are coming back around, they come around each and every year, and so we honor them at Nami WiWinu Huckleberry, that first tasting of the huckleberry, and we do those feasts down at the Kotnam. But the story I'd like to share is from our grandma, and she had shared this story with us as young children, and we got to hear the story. But I want to also appreciate the Culture and Heritage Department of the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, who documented the story in writing through her words. And so I've seen that document as well, and so just want to share a little bit about it and the way she would stories was Mimi Ikoshewecha Tlach Mapawacha Tananma. That a long time ago it was, when everybody was people, the plants, the bushes, the trees, the seasons, the air, the berries, the roots, all of the animals, everybody was people. And they were a community that had different connections and relationships to each other. And some of them got along, some of them didn't. Some of them were bashful, some of them were boastful. And in all of those many different stories, there were these two beings that came to know one another. And Anahui, it was the bear. Anahui, he was traveling around in the forest and he had discovered another person, and it was the WiWinu. And WiWinu, he was sitting there on the bushes, and Anahui, Ikatwea, and he really liked it. And so he just started Tequatachana Tlachton, and until there was no more WiWinu left. And sure enough, Anahui, he had WiWinu Tlach Panmin Nushnu Panmin Tupsh Kupanmin Apap Kupanmin Wawanakshashpa. And he went to bed just all chiwach. And so he had woke up the next day, and of course he was very hungry. So he went ahead and started traveling through and started finding more and more huckleberries, and he was just eating all these huckleberries. And there was none left in everywhere he went. He didn't leave anything on the bush. And all the Kakiema became concerned. And so all the Kakiema, the cookers, the bears, and the deer, and the elk, and the snakes, and the birds, they all started calling Anahui, Winam, they tell him. So he comes strolling over, and he still has huckleberries on his face, and his paws, and his claws, and his teeth, and the evidence is all there. And so he's standing around, and he's looking at all of these animals, and they're just like ready to have him answer for the huckleberry. And sure enough, they spoke up. They said, Anahui, we saw what you've been doing to the huckleberry, to WiWinu. You've been eating up all the huckleberries, and now there's none on the bush. There's none for the soil, there's none for the breeze, for the trees, for the birds, for all the other people that rely on WiWinu to come back year after year. And here you are, you're just eating them all up and just leaving nothing. And Anahui, he's like, but I like them. But I like them. So they're like, but he has nothing to look after himself. How's he going to look after himself and come back year after year if you just keep eating them? You got to give him something. And Anahui, he was like, but I don't have anything. All I have is my paws and my claws and my teeth and my fur. I don't have anything I could give to WiWinu. And so all the Kakiema, they start whispering, all right, we've decided that you got to give him your eyeballs. And Anahui's like, I can't give him my eyeballs. How am I going to see? I'm not going to be able to get around. And then they're like, so they came back to Anahui again. They said, we think you ought to give him one of your eyeballs. And Anahui's like, how am I going to see if I only have one eyeball? I'm only going to see on this side, and then I'm going to run into all the bushes and the trees and whatever else on this side of my face. You know, I can't live with just one eye. I can't be the one eye on Anahui. So they start whispering again. Well, we think that you ought to give him a little bit of your eyesight of both eyes. Just give him a little bit of eyesight so that when he grows, he's going to look and he's going to see other places in the woods so that he can begin to sprout and make more friends and family throughout the forest. And so Anahui, he really thought of it, and so he's like, okay. So then Anahui, he started rubbing his hands together, and he starts singing his powerful song. And he took some eyesight right out of his eyes, and he passed it on to the WiWinu. And the WiWinu gladly accepted that eyesight. And so all the Kakiyama had seen and witnessed that partnership between the WiWinu and Anahui. So the WiWinu has allowed for Anahui to eat as many WiWinu as he'd like every year. And so Anahui, he travels with WiWinu in his stomach, and he poops them out all throughout the woods. And he no longer has as good as eyesight as he used to have, so he gets around with his nose now, Panmin Nushnu. And the WiWinu, ever since that time, he has had one eyeball on every berry since that time. And all the Kakiyama were the witnesses to that. And so, I'll clout ikush nai. Hey,